evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to For FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Brittany Bowman.
And I'm student meteorologist Sloan Haynes.
And we definitely have a lot to talk about tonight, and emphasis on the tropics. We have a lot going on right now in the tropics.
Yeah, we have 3 named storms right now in the Atlantic. I believe it is Isaac, Helene, and then Florence, which is approaching the U.S. right now.
Yeah, Florence is going to be the main thing that we talk about. We'll go more into that detail later, but we do have other systems to worry about, and even some areas to watch closer to home in the Gulf of Mexico, some concerns for Texas, but we'll get plenty into that later.
And right now in Tallahassee, we do have that typical summertime pattern that we're used to, afternoon showers and thunderstorms while we do cool down a bit at night, but still have those storms afternoon, so make sure you have your umbrella if you're out.
Yeah, definitely nothing to talk about tropic for Tallahassee right now, but again, we are watching some systems and hurricanes in the Atlantic right now. But let's go ahead and with Ariana to talk about a more local look.
Thank you so much, Brittany and Sloan. Currently, I'm going to tell you about what it's feeling like in Tallahassee. Right now, it is actually 77 degrees. That temperature has dropped a little bit from that rain you felt if you were outside a few minutes ago. We got a lot of scattered thunderstorms around the area. It is a Florida summer afternoon, guys. It is humid, hot, and rainy. What do you expect? It is humid, hot, and rainy. Right now, like I said, it's 77. Quincy, you got 81. Bainbridge, all the way up at 91. Dang, it is hot up there. You can see those sunny skies over there and cloudy skies over here. That just shows that there are lots of scattered thunderstorms everywhere. It is a Friday, or not a Friday afternoon. It is a Monday afternoon here. Sorry, I got too caught up. It is a Florida afternoon. It is summer. It is rainy and humid. You can see all those scattered thunderstorms around the forecast right now. There's a lot up on I-10 right here. Some of them could be a little severe, so keep cautious. Bring your umbrella with you. Bring your raincoat. You never know when you're going to get stuck in one of those when you're walking out of class, like I have countless times. And we've only been in class for, 2 weeks? It's happened to all of us. Don't worry. No fear. It's easy solved. Bring your umbrella. Tonight, what you can expect, 72. It's going to be a little cooler. Thank God. It's going to be a little bit cool. We're going to have some thunderstorms early in the evening. The wind's going to be pretty calm, but you can still bring your umbrella with you. I recommend it. We're going to be talking about Florence a little bit on this show, actually a lot. That sea breeze is going to return to normal after that hurricane comes back or hits, and then it's going to be hot. Brittany's actually going to tell you a little bit more about Florence right now. So here you go, Brittany. I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about that hurricane coming to hit the coast.
Thank you, Ariana. Yeah, we are talking a lot about hurricanes right now, but the main threat that we're really focusing on is Hurricane Florence. And not only is it a hurricane, but it is a major hurricane right now. Here's a look at that cone. Category 4 at 104 miles per hour, moving at west-northwest at 13 miles per hour. Now that is allowing that track to stay fairly south of what storms in this position are used to. That pressure is at 939 millibars, and it's expected to maintain that major category 4 hurricane strength until it focuses on the areas of the East Coast later in the week. Here's a look at that upper level water vapor. You can see just these bright oranges and yellows and reds really indicating a lot of moisture, and it's very symmetrical. You're not seeing any influence of drier air indicated by those blacker colors and also some orange colors. So dry air isn't slowing it down. Another reason why it's maintaining that strength. Hurricane hunters have been working endlessly, allowing us to get some data we really need, especially because Florence is still far away in the Atlantic. As they went by earlier today, they saw those winds about, I think it's at 136 miles per hour, 944 millibars, and we really thank all the men and women completing these missions for us, because we're able to get that data that we really couldn't get without them. Here's a look at that wind field. Now you can see those red colors indicating hurricane force winds over 74 miles per hour, and that's going to continue to maintain the strength as it works towards the East Coast and move and possibly landfall along the Carolinas. So Thursday evening is when the main threats are expected to occur. Storm surge is going to be a huge problem. We already have mandatory evacuations for places in North Carolina and South Carolina. And another issue is the flooding. Now the flooding isn't just a problem for the coastal locations, it's also going to exceed well inland. So places well inland in the Carolinas especially really need to focus and determine if you are in a safe location as the storm approaches. And another main threat is that high winds. Again, this could be hundreds of miles inland experiencing these high hurricane force winds. Also wave heights, 37 feet near the core of Hurricane Florence right now, 19 feet as you go a little more out of the center, and closer to the United States, you already see things starting to pick up at 5 feet. Water temperatures aren't slowing Florence down either. Another reason it's going to maintain that major strength. 85 degrees, that's just really warm bath water, just fueling Hurricane Florence. And we're working our way down the list. We did have that below average season. We still are, but we are making it the way through with Florence. Already had Gordon go by, and we are tracking Helene and Isaac also. And here's another look at that forecast cone for Florence. I just want to emphasize that this cone is a projected path for the center of Florence. So if the center of Florence wants to stick all the way to the right, you're going to feel a lot of effects more in the northeast, because those effects are going to spread possibly hundreds of miles outside the center. And if Florence wants to take a path more south, you're going to feel more of those effects into Georgia and possibly Florida. So you definitely want to keep updated with your local station and keep tabs on Hurricane Florence as it approaches later in the week. Now Sloan's going to take a look at things more locally in Tallahassee.
Thank you, Brittany. Fortunately for us in Tallahassee, we are currently at 77 degrees with scattered thunderstorms out the area. Earlier today going to Starbucks, we did hear that boom. I heard that boom clap of thunder coming into the studio. Winds are a bit lighter at 6 miles per hour from the south-southwest. Current conditions again in the area, sticking to the 80s for southern Georgia. Bainbridge a bit warmer at 91. Decreasing as we go into Tallahassee at 77, but Perry and Apalachicola sticking to about mid-lower 80s for their temperature. Dew point, which is the temperature at which dew forms, bit average for this time of year. Bainbridge a bit lower than normal at 64, but again, Apalachicola and Tallahassee and Perry all in the 70s for the rest of the region. When you combine the temperature and the dew point, you get what it feels like outside. Bainbridge a bit warmer at 93 degrees. Apalachicola very warm at 97. Don't want to be there right now, as Ariana said earlier. 78 in Tallahassee, and Valdosta and Thomasville a bit warmer as well. Surface winds, we do have like these winds coming in from the south, from the Gulf, onshore, bringing in that moisture, causing these pop-up showers a bit along the area, which we'll see eventually. Actually, in this radar right here, you see we do have these pop-up showers, especially going north of I-10. Expect that to continue into tonight. Going into tonight, we will clear up, which is typical of this summertime weather pattern. We do have that chance of a thunderstorm tonight, so be careful if you're going out tonight. Make sure you have your umbrella with you. Tonight's forecast, not a clear sky in sight in the Tallahassee region, but along the coast and in southern Georgia, we do have those clear skies, cooling down to the 70s for most of the region. Tomorrow, expect the high to be about 91 degrees, partly cloudy, winds light again, about 5 miles per hour from the southeast. If you're going to be out by the coast tomorrow, it's going to be 91 degrees. We do have those chance of thunderstorms along the coast. Winds lighter again, 5 to 10 miles per hour, and make sure to swim inside of a lifeguard if you do go out. And here is your 7-day forecast. You will see that we do increase rain chances going into tomorrow. So 60% chance, make sure you stay dry. And then going into the weekend, decreasing again. And then Sunday, we're going to see that we have 60% again, but then decreasing back into Monday. Temperatures are sticking to the 90s for most of the region with lows in the 70s. I'm going to pass it off to Brantley and Brittany at the desk.
Thank you, Sloan. Now, we have been in hurricane season for a couple months, but the real question is, have you prepared?
That's right. We're now at the peak of hurricane season right now. As you can tell, we have 3 hurricanes out there that we're watching, so this is the best time to be prepared for a storm.
Yeah, better over-prepared than under-prepared. You definitely want to be safe rather than sorry. And we also have some preparedness tips to keep you prepared just in case you're affected by any tropical system.
Absolutely. So we are focused on making a plan for yourself and your family. Knowing where you're at as far as a risk of a hurricane impacting your location, it plays a big part in your safety when it comes time for a storm. Knowing if you're in an evacuation zone, if you're in a floodplain, those are really important things. And also knowing where the nearest shelters would be. A lot of times it's local schools, so knowing where you're at and where your zone is can help a lot.
Yeah, and you definitely need to stay informed, whether it's through your local TV station, your phone. I know a lot of people like to keep up on Twitter and Facebook, even a radio. A radio is something not many people think to have, because if that power goes out, if that telephone service goes out, the only service you can really have is that emergency weather radio to keep updated. And you also need to build a kit. You always need to have that ready. Water is a huge issue. I know water is already sold out in places in Walmarts in North Carolina because people are getting prepared now. You want to restock basic things and also have those non-perishable food items.
Yeah, food items, especially ones that you want to eat too. Don't just feel like you have to get stuff that you wouldn't normally eat. You can get things that you would normally eat, like a few pieces of candy in there too. So have a few treats there in your preparedness kit as well. Also, with technology now, it's important that you have cell phone battery backups. A lot of these things are less than $20. You can charge your phone multiple times with those if you charge them ahead of time, and that can help you stay connected with your family and friends and get the latest updates on the storm from your local officials.
And also something I didn't really know, that pharmacies such as Walgreens and CVS will actually keep your medicine refrigerated in case you need that. So that's something really good to know, especially if the power goes out. That's something very vital to a lot of people. Yeah,
pharmacies are great. Make sure that you have all your medications refilled ahead of time too, especially if some of those pharmacies do get inundated with orders after the storm passes.
Yeah, states of emergency are already issued for places of South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and even Maryland just called one today. So people are definitely starting to get prepared, which is a good thing, but the earlier you are prepared, the better.
Yeah, the earlier you're prepared and better, and we're hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst with these storms coming up.
Yeah, let's take it over to Jen now for a national look.
As we take a look at what's going on across the nation, we're seeing some hot temperatures in the west, looking at 86 degrees for Albuquerque, New Mexico. There is a high pressure in place in this area, so that's why we're seeing some higher temperatures. 91 degrees for Denver, a little bit cooler as we get along the coast, about 70 degrees. But where we're seeing the cooler temperatures is where this cold front is located more towards the east. It's bringing some nice cool temperatures, 62 degrees for Detroit as well as 75 for Washington, D.C. So those are some nicer temperatures. You can see exactly where this cold front is situated. It's situated right along the Appalachian Mountains right here. So you can see where the darker colors are. That's where higher moisture is ahead of this cold front. So we're seeing around the 70s, which is where we're seeing the rain at this time. More drier conditions across the west, looking at around 20s and even 30s, so it's nice and dry in those areas. But where we see the rain action is where this cold front is located. We actually have a cold front as well as a warm front associated with this boundary. We're seeing some rain, some higher rain fall amounts in the New England area, around New Hampshire, even on into Maine. Even along the southeast, we're actually seeing a lot of rainfall associated with this in the Houston area, as well as some areas like Texas, even on into Dallas is where they're seeing a lot of rainfall. They're even seeing some flash flood advisories for the flash flood watches and warnings for that location. Some pop-up showers along most areas of the Rocky Mountains. This is actually alleviating some of the drier conditions that's occurring in these areas. We still have exceptional drought in most of the Four Corners region, which is what's keeping some fire hazards in place throughout most of the rest of the month for some of these areas. Heading on into the New England area, into the northeast, we're actually seeing, because of this warm front that's associated in this area, we're seeing just a lot of rainfall for areas like Massachusetts, even on into Vermont and New Hampshire. So this will start to make its way a little bit more north, even on into Maine. So we'll keep an eye on that for you for the next few days. Looking into the water vapor, we're seeing associated with that cold front that's just towards the Appalachian Mountains. We're seeing a lot of rainfall action associated with South Carolina, even on into North Carolina, which is where we're seeing these afternoon thunderstorms. We have a marginal risk of severe weather for areas like North Dakota as well as Minnesota. Just some thunderstorms associated with some areas along the southeast. We'll even keep the marginal risk throughout Wednesday as well, so that's something to keep an eye on. Hurricane Florence is still in the Atlantic, which will make its way up towards the eastern side of the United States. This may even be a Cat 4 when it makes landfall around Thursday afternoon and into Friday morning. Tonight's forecast is going to be a cooler one for areas like Minneapolis, even on to Kansas City, 59 degrees. Nice and cool along most areas of the West Coast, 65 degrees for Los Angeles. For tomorrow, though, we're seeing the hot temperatures in the southeast, about 91 degrees for Tallahassee, as well as 85 degrees for New Orleans. I'm going to pass things off to Brantley for a look at the tropics.
Thanks, Jennifer. We do have our eyes on Florence right now, but we also are watching a tropical trio in the Atlantic, tracking Isaac as well. We also have Hurricane Helene out over the Atlantic too. Isaac right now, a Category 1 hurricane, very minimal hurricane at this point, 75-mile-per-hour winds. A Cat 1 starts at 74 miles per hour. So just holding on to hurricane strength there. And it's going to be moving across the Atlantic towards the Lesser Antilles over the next few days. They are maybe gaining some strength along the way. And then once it gets into those colder waters, we'll see some gradual weakening. The wind field, though, will expand as it gets to those islands there. We see those tropical storm force winds in the yellow here and the orange getting up there as we get closer to the islands. So these islands will be seeing some really gusty winds, tropical storm force by Friday afternoon. And then this warm water is going to help keep it strengthening over the next couple of days here. And then afterward, we will see that gradual weakening from some wind shear that gets involved there. Our water temperatures staying warm. Also, the wave heights are very high around the high seas, so people that are on boats in these areas are taking precautions. I know several cruises in the Caribbean right now are taking very cautious note as they watch these storms get closer there. Some cancellations might be possible. Also tracking Hurricane Helene right now. It's a Category 2 hurricane at this point, and it could get up to a Category 3 as early as tonight or tomorrow morning. We see the eye right here on the satellite and radar, or excuse me, our satellite imagery, and then it will gain strength as it gets up there for the next couple of days, and then weaken once it gets to colder waters too. So now in the 80s down here in the water where it's at, getting into the 70s. Now that once we get below 80, that's when it's a little bit less conducive for development. So we will be getting a little bit weaker as it gets farther north, and the waves also very high with this storm. So this one not expected to really affect anyone right now. So just another name off the list there. We're also watching another area that's about to enter the Gulf of Mexico, a very warm area as well. This has a 50% chance of development over the next 5 days, so we're going to keep an eye on that one. And another little swirl over here over the northern Atlantic, still in those colder waters, but also a 40% chance of development as it gets into those colder waters. So we're not looking at too high of development right there, but it is important to keep your hurricane preparedness plan ready because we are in the peak of hurricane season right now, and even with all these areas we are watching, it is still a below average season. So keep an eye on the tropics for the next several days as these storms do progress closer to the United States, and make sure that your friends and family are aware as well. Now we're going to go back over to the desk with Ariana and Sloan.
Thank you so much, Brantley. So Brantley just told us about the hurricanes in the Atlantic. We're going to tell you a little bit about the hurricane in the Pacific right now. Hurricane Olivia is coming really close to those Hawaii Islands, right, Sloan?
This is going to be the first hurricane expected to make landfall in over 20 years. I believe he said 1992 was the first one, or the last one that hit.
Oh no, they've had some close calls so far this season with 2 other ones.
Yeah, but I believe Lane was the most recent one that came through.
Yeah.
But we do have a few concerns for the Hawaiian Islands right now that we may not have here. The typical ones we have are heavy winds, flooding, and storm surge.
Yes.
But a concern that was with Lane as well was the volcano activity.
Oh, true.
Because we do have that lava flow going through, and these heavy winds do have the power to steer the lava flow in other directions, not just affecting the areas already affected, but new areas that they haven't reached yet.
Yes, it's very important to be aware, if you are in Hawaii right now, if any of our viewers are, to be aware of these conditions, because Olivia is going to be coming very close to the islands. If not, it will reach landfall. I don't know the exact path.
In the next few days.
Yes, in the next few days. It's very important to be prepared, and it is the first hurricane to possibly make landfall in Hawaii for a while, like we said. So it's going to be a little bit of a eye-opening experience for the people in Hawaii, I think, because they haven't experienced this for a long time.
Yeah, it is expected, though, to turn into a tropical storm by the time it does reach the islands. So not exactly a hurricane right now, but there are tropical storm warnings in effect already for most of the islands. The outer islands to the north, I believe, aren't directly in the path, but they will receive those outer bands in that region.
You're still going to get a lot of rain over there. It's not going to be the prettiest day in Hawaii, but hopefully it'll turn into a tropical storm, so it won't be as big of an impact as it is right now, because I think it is a hurricane currently in the water, but it's expecting to weaken as it gets closer. But I've actually never been to Hawaii, so I can't say how pretty it is, but Sloan, you've been to Hawaii, right?
Times. My parents actually just went a few weeks ago, and it's beautiful there. But again, reiterating what Brittany and Brantley were saying, to make sure you do have those hurricane preparedness plans in effect, having water, especially right now, make sure you go, because I know it's very hard to find water bottles in the islands as they do ban plastic. And to make sure you have that preparedness plan and evacuation route. Seek higher ground, especially the islands, since you are surrounded by water. And to make sure that you have contact with your family, especially on the mainland.
Yes, charge your phones. Very important.
We're going to take it back out to Brantley in the studio.
Thanks, ladies. We're looking at some nice weather this evening across the southeast. Great for evacuation zones, too. We're going to see these roads nice and clear for the rest of tonight if you're heading out early from the east coast. Things should be staying clear for the rest of the evening for Georgia and South Carolina. A few clouds moving through late tonight, and maybe a pop-up shower or two is possible. And then we should see a little bit lower rain chances tomorrow. So here on our satellite and radar, we see there is a lot of rain coming off the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of moisture hanging around the coast there. That's going to stay through tonight and into tomorrow morning before we have that drier air start to move in. Over in Houston, they are seeing some flash flooding right now because of this heavy rain. They've seen a couple of inches here over the last day or so. So some flash flood watches and warnings are stretching all the way from Brownsville up to the Houston area, and those are going to keep going through the rest of tonight. Our upper level water vapor showing a very damp atmosphere over that area right now, and then right behind it is that dry air where that orange color is starting to kick up some. So some drier weather is on the way for them, but in the meantime, some flash flooding concerns. Again, a couple inches of rain for some places, up to an inch and a half for places just north of Corpus Christi there, and those rain totals will keep jumping up there for the next day or so. Flash flood watch through Tuesday at 8 a.m., so that's just through tomorrow, and then it could be extended though over the next couple of days as this tropical disturbance makes its way into the Gulf. We could see even more rain for the Houston area and for Corpus Christi as this gets into the Gulf of Mexico. So a lot of deep tropical moisture going to keep affecting the Gulf Coast for the next several days here. Our forecast from the RPM model showing a few pop-up showers late tonight and into tomorrow. Some scattered showers can't be ruled out all across the southeast. So rain is possible everywhere in the southeast tomorrow, probably running anywhere between a 30 and a 50% chance for most places there. Tonight's forecast, we're having a few showers move through the area, especially here in Tallahassee tonight. We already had some rain on the local radar. That's going to stay around, just very slow-moving storms drifting off the coast farther inland there, spreading all the way up to places like Montgomery, Atlanta, and New Orleans. Some rain tonight for you guys. And then temperatures staying generally in the lower to mid-70s for extreme portions of the southeast. Farther over there towards Arkansas and Little Rock, dropping down there to the lower 60s where they had that dry air already moving in, some clear skies for them there. Some clouds again tomorrow, so a cloudy scene for most of the southeast with a few pockets of sunshine. Some rain chances pretty high again there as that Gulf moisture keeps moving up, so between 40 and 50% for your rain chances tomorrow. Temperatures generally seasonable for this time of the year. 91 for Tallahassee, upper 80s for Montgomery, Atlanta, mid 80s in Louisiana for New Orleans, and then in Shreveport down to 79 degrees. So that heavy cloud cover and rain is going to keep things nice and cool through tomorrow, so a little bit below average for Shreveport. Now we're going to take things over to a local look of the forecast with Ariana.
Thank you so much, Brantley. To look at your local forecast, currently we are at 77. We got those scattered thunderstorms all around us. Just be aware, bring your umbrella, watch out for lightning. It's never good to be out in a scattered thunderstorm. You'll probably get soaking wet, so keep your raincoat and umbrella with you. But right now, we got some sun peeking through those clouds before that sun sets out there. So go enjoy that sun before the rain comes back tonight. Like I said, 77 in Tallahassee. Bainbridge, you're all the way at 90 still, and it is almost 6:30. Wow, it is. Just because it is meteorology fall does not mean it is real fall. That is coming at the end of the month. Apalachicola, you're at 86. We've got those cloudy and sunny skies because of all those scattered thunderstorms all around us. That humidity is high. It is in the 70s all around. Tallahassee, 72. Apalachicola, you're down at 77 because you got that sea breeze coming up at you, and that brings lots of moisture into the air, making it feel like a pool when you walk outside, and your shirt is probably soaking wet like mine always is when I'm walking to class. That heat index though is pretty high too. Perry, you're at 91. It felt like 91 degrees in Perry today. Apalachicola, 97. It is hot, hot, hot. It is still summertime. Fall has not come yet, even though the pumpkin spice latte is here. It is very hot outside. Like I said earlier, you got those scattered thunderstorms all around us in the area. Make sure you have your raincoat because it could pour down on you for a split 5 seconds any minute. Never expecting it, come out of nowhere. That's Florida summer for you guys. You're all used to it. Keep your umbrella close and your rain jacket closer. Your forecast for tonight, you could get some chance of thunderstorms for tonight. We've got some cloud coverage coming up from the sea breeze, and it is going to be a cloudy start for tomorrow morning too. So it's not going to be too hot, and it's going to be pretty cloudy in the morning. No big deal. It's going to be great. It's still going to be a hot one tomorrow. We got that sea breeze bringing more storms up for tomorrow afternoon, just like today and like every other day this past week. For tonight, what you can expect, thunderstorms early in the evening, 72 degrees. That wind is going to be calm, not too windy at all. It's just going to feel a little muggy outside tonight, just how it normally does. And for tomorrow, Tallahassee, we're breaking 91 tomorrow. Yay. Quincy, you're breaking 92. Apalachicola, you're actually going to be a little bit on the cooler side at 88. So be prepared for that heat. Drink lots of water. It is very hot outside. Very important to stay hydrated on these very hot days. For your daily planner tomorrow, like I said, it's going to start out a little cooler, but it is going to rise in temperature very quickly throughout the day. Drink water. Keep your water bottle close to you. What you can expect for your 7-day forecast, those temperatures are staying in the 90s. Like I said, it is going to be hot. It is still summer. It may rain. Bring a raincoat with you. You can take a look at that 7-day forecast. But right now, we're going to close it off with Brantley and Jennifer at the desk.
Yeah. Thanks, Ariana.
Thank you, Ariana. And we're actually looking at more locally weather, seeing that sea breeze action taking place throughout the next few days. We have been talking a lot about the hurricanes this past show, but bringing it back locally.
Yeah, a lot of talk about the tropics, but here locally we're going to keep seeing tropical moisture, even though we're not seeing any type of tropical cyclones. So still a wet weather pattern for us, just a very typical thing for our summertime here. We'll see temperatures generally in the lower 90s for the next several days, with rain chances kind of on and off. Up, tomorrow 40%, Wednesday up to 60%. So our best chance for rain during the work week is going to be on Wednesday with about a 60% chance of rain.
Yeah, but we're also keeping temperatures very high. We're keeping temperatures into the low 90s throughout the rest of this week. We probably won't even see a relief in this until, for another few weeks. So we're keeping those rain chances lower heading in through the weekend. We may even see that 60% chance. I believe that should be actually a 30% chance of rain. It updated on us. But just keeping the temperatures fairly high, 92 degrees, but the low temperatures are still fairly warm.
Yeah, and with those rain chances every day, we're going to keep a very humid environment here along the coast too. A lot of that moisture just hanging out for us. I looking at the longer range models earlier today, I saw we have some lower dew points in the forecast for the end of the month. So after about September 20th or 21st, we should see our first cold front or two start to move through. And even though temperatures might not get too cool, we're going to feel a lot cooler with lower dew points, which means lower humidity for us.
Just in time for fall. So October's in a few weeks, and we're all getting our pumpkins
I'm hoping
ready.
that we get those, the drier air, the less damp air before our next football game.
Yeah, but in the meantime, you can follow us on all social media. Follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather.
Also on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather.
You can also watch us anytime. You can watch us live also. Hopefully you're watching us now at FSU Weather on YouTube.
And you can send us your pictures for our FSU Weather account on Instagram. We'll post all your pictures on our social media, and they could even be featured here on our show.
Exactly. And from here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Jennifer Collins.
And I'm student meteorologist Brantley Kite.
Have a good evening.